My name is Eugene Kessler, and I'm 58 years old, a former federal cybersecurity advisor turned invisible husband. I once stood behind podiums that mattered, signed off on national security clearances, and briefed presidents. Now, I pour wine at political galas I'm not invited to, smiling on cue while my wife, Verena, works the room like a queen without a king. She's sharp, revered, and terrifyingly composed, the kind of woman headlines call the real power behind the curtain. Me, I've become the man they quietly forgot. They say I had a breakdown. They say I lost it all. But I remember just enough to know I never signed those documents, never agreed to disappear. And tonight, at this glittering ballroom of secrets and donors, something's about to explode, and it starts with my name echoing from the governor's lips. She told them I was gone, but dead men don't show up wearing tuxedos. The Langham ballroom shimmered with low lighting and higher egos. Waiters glided. Between tables, security flanked every corner. Cameras disguised as decorative bulbs blinked silently. I stood near the back, right hand on a glass of untouched wine, left hand stuffed in my jacket pocket, fingers curling around nothing. Reflex, muscle memory. The place buzzed with million-dollar smiles and billion-dollar secrets. "Stay back," Verena hissed 2 hours earlier. "Don't talk, don't move, don't be seen." Her smile never cracked when she said it. Power speaks without volume. Verena had mastered that long ago. I didn't argue. I hadn't in years. There's a point when silence isn't surrender. It's survival. The air buzzed when the governor walked in. Titus Malkovich, blue suit, red tie, that eternal campaign glow. The man shook hands like he signed pardons with every palm. A standing ovation followed him across the marble floor. Everyone rose, everyone except me. He stepped onto the stage. Spotlight, applause, silence. He started the usual. "Tonight we celebrate public trust." But his eyes weren't on the crowd. They were on me. I knew that look. I'd briefed men like him for 20 years. It wasn't a glance. It was a target lock. He smiled, paused, then into the mic. "Eugene Kessler, I believe it's time we heard your side of the story." Glass shattered, somewhere to my left. My wine untouched, still cold in my hand. Verena froze mid-step across the room. Her face didn't change, but her neck stiffened like stone under silk. She turned her head, slowly, like a woman who just heard the dead speaking. The entire ballroom shifted toward me like a slow wave crashing. I didn't move. I couldn't. This wasn't on the schedule. I wasn't supposed to exist. People whispered my name, some in surprise, others in recognition, a few in fear. One man near the podium muttered, "I thought he was, compromised." The governor smiled wider. "Come on up, Eugene." No. My legs moved. Anyway, gravity shifted. Every step forward felt like a betrayal. Verena's voice cut through the noise, low but laced with acid. "You weren't supposed to come tonight." I stopped short of the stairs. "What did you do?" She didn't answer. Security didn't stop me. That was strange. The governor reached out a hand, a folder in the other. I took it. Thick, legal-grade paper, dated headers. "This," Malkovich said, "is your signature, found in a sealed state contract, dated 1 year after your supposed disappearance." The room gasped again. I opened the folder. My name, dozens of times. Scans, stamps, dates I don't remember, authorizations I never gave. One phrase printed across the top page: State Authorization Kessler Protocol, Emergency Cybersecurity Transfer. I blinked. My throat clenched. Verena stepped up beside me. "There's been a misunderstanding." Malkovich didn't let her finish. "Eugene," he said, voice quiet now. "She told me you were dead." Verena's heels clicked across the marble floor like gunshots, each step slower than the last, calculated, sharp. She reached me just off stage, voice so low only I could hear it. "You weren't supposed to be here." "Yeah," I said. "Funny thing about ghosts, we tend to haunt." The applause faded. Whispers took over. Cameras panned our way. Someone in the back tried to take a picture. Flash off, but too late. I saw it. So did she. She didn't blink. "Smile," she said through clenched teeth. "They're watching." The governor leaned into his mic, all political polish. "We're honored to welcome back Mr. Kessler, a name many assumed had faded from public service." Laughter rippled, a polite, uneasy ripple. No one understood what they were clapping for. Malkovich handed me the folder. "Inside," he said, "you'll find authorizations bearing your signature, used to greenlight high-level data transactions. Posthumously, it seems." I opened it. Page after page. Form headers, seals, state crests. My signature, my name, inked, identical. I hadn't held a pen in months. "I never signed these." Verena's smile didn't move. "You were recovering, Eugene. You barely knew what month it was." "I handled it. For us." "No," I said louder now. "You handled it for you." Tension cracked the air. Not loud, subtle, like glass under pressure. The documents weren't just random forms. They were clearance authorizations used to open federal vaults. My old digital signature keys had been reactivated. That's not supposed to happen. Federal protocol requires biometric two-step, retinal, voice, geo-locked IP access. Only one person could have bypassed all of that. Her. The crowd shifted uneasily. No one interrupted. Power feeds on confusion. "Did you forge them?" "Don't be dramatic. I haven't held clearance in 2 years." "And yet here we are," she hissed, smile still fixed. "Now you're back. You should be thanking me." "Did you sell it?" I stepped closer. "My name? My clearance." "You needed help," she snapped. "You couldn't function. You were a liability." I protected what was left. A voice called out from the side, sharp, female, stern. "Mr. Kessler." Detective badge, slate suit, hair tight, Glock on her hip, federal cut. "Detective Sloan," she said. "Federal Cybercrime Division. We need a word." Verena stiffened. I turned, stepping down from the stage. She followed. "This is a misunderstanding," Verena said, intercepting Sloan. "We'll cooperate fully." "Not with you," Sloan cut in. "With him." She handed me a second folder. Inside, surveillance stills. Blurry, time-stamped. A woman entering a federal data facility 6 months ago. My face. Only it wasn't me. I was in rehab. Under sedation. Somewhere I can't even remember clearly. Clinic records confirmed. Yet here I was. On paper, accessing Embercore, the state's most secure data vault. "That's not me," I said. Sloan didn't look surprised. "Facial overlay software. Deep mimic. But your ID opened that vault. Your retinal scan, your thumbprint, your password. Impossible." She pulled out a tablet. A still image froze on screen. Verena, alone, eyes to the camera, finger pressed to scanner. In her other hand, a biometric replicator. My voice echoed from the speaker. "Access granted. Kessler, level 7. I went cold. Verena said nothing. "You understand," Sloan added. "This makes you legally complicit unless proven otherwise." I stared at my wife. Her silence. Her calculation. Truth is louder than guilt. Silence is louder than both. "The documents found inside Embercore," Sloan continued, "were used to route $47 million in federal surveillance contracts to a shell corporation." She flipped a final page. "The signature on the routing transfer? Eugene R. Kessler." The ink wasn't even smudged. Verena broke first. "It wasn't like that." "Then how was it?" I snapped. "Because from where I'm standing, it looks like I was framed, buried, sold." Sloan leaned closer. "We believe someone used your identity to authorize illegal data access, but that's not the worst part." "What is?" She tapped the image on her screen. 3 faces. 1 killed in a car crash. 1 suicide. 1 disappeared. All 3 had whistleblower flags tied to Embercore. All accessed files under your clearance. All are now dead. My knees locked, my breath stuck. They're tying it to you, Eugene, Sloan said. And if I'm right, your name's the reason 3 people are already dead. The elevator door slammed shut behind us with a heavy metallic thud. Inside the service corridor, everything felt tighter. The marble floors were gone, replaced by utility tile and the stench of industrial bleach. Detective Sloan walked ahead, fast and silent. I followed. Verena trailed behind, one step out of sync, like a shadow trying to reattach itself. You can't trust her, I muttered. Sloan didn't slow. I don't. That's why we're walking toward the only secured room in this building. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. Cameras in the hallway pivoted with us. Always watching, always recording. We turned a sharp corner. A reinforced door slid open. Control room, cold, quiet. One desk, one monitor, one chair, no windows. Sit, Sloan said, nodding toward the monitor. Verena stood by the wall, arms crossed, face blank. I sat. Sloan inserted a drive. A grainy video blinked alive, time-stamped, dated. There I was, walking through the lower entrance of a state data center in Springfield, only it wasn't me. That version of me moved differently, more upright, faster, sharper, deepfake. No, too crisp, biometric overlay, masking tech. Someone had used my digital signature, retinal print, and voice command to enter. The real me had been hooked up to IVs in a silent clinic room, staring at a beige ceiling I barely remember. The woman who entered behind you, Sloan said, used a keycard registered to Verena's old firm. The frame froze. There she was, hair tied up, no makeup, but unmistakable. Verena. She stared straight at the camera before glancing away. A look of calculation, not guilt. Why? I asked. Verena shrugged. I saved you. I protected you. No, I snapped. You erased me. A pause. Do you think power apologizes? She said quietly. Power doesn't beg. It doesn't explain. It moves. You were paralyzed, Eugene. Someone had to move. A slow breath caught in my throat. You took everything. You handed it to me the day you stopped fighting. I stood. Chairs screeched. Sloan stepped between us. That's enough, she said. This isn't therapy. This is evidence. I turned to Sloan. Why now? Why me? She tapped the keyboard, pulled up another folder, redacted names, blacked out lines. But 3 faces appeared. Victims. Dead. All 3 had active whistleblower protection, Sloan said. All 3 accessed Embercore using your credentials. 2 flagged irregularities in state surveillance reports. The 3rd tried to contact a reporter. They were tracked, she continued, through systems only Verena and Embercore had clearance to. And you think she ordered it? I asked. No, Sloan said. We think she sold it. Silence. Then, bang. A loud knock. Back door. Not standard. Sloan's hand flew to her weapon. Another knock. Sharp. Deliberate. She motioned to me. Stay. She opened. The door 2 inches. A man's voice. Package. Signed for by Kessler. That's not how federal delivery works, Sloan growled. Another voice cut in. Deep. Calm. Measured. Detective, if you don't open this door, you're going to find your badge in a drawer tomorrow morning. She froze. Governor Titus Malkovich stepped in, flanked by 2 agents in suits too clean to be federal. He looked at me like I was a bomb he'd rather not defuse. Eugene, he said, voice smooth, you've caused quite a stir. I haven't done anything. Exactly, he said. And that's the problem. He turned to Sloan. You've had your fun. Now I'm invoking oversight jurisdiction. Sloan squared up. You don't have that authority. I do when it's state data and a possible breach of national intelligence, he said. Unless you want the press to know federal investigators let an unstable man walk into a secure gala with a forged identity. Verena stepped forward. "We'll cooperate fully," she said, soft as silk. I stared at her. You don't stab someone and offer the bandage in the same breath. Malkovich leaned close to me. "We're cleaning this up," he whispered. "You're going to play along. For your sake. For hers." Then louder for the room. "Get him home. Now." He turned and left. No more words. One of the men behind him stayed. Big. Hands like cinder blocks. Silent. He looked at me once. Then to Sloane. Then stepped aside. Sloane hissed through her teeth. "They're trying to fold you into the cleanup." "I know." "I don't think you do." She handed me a note, folded tight. I opened it. It was just a list of 3 numbers. Underneath, 6 words written in all caps. "If you die, start here first." I didn't wait for a driver, didn't wait for permission. 30 minutes after Malkovich left the ballroom, I was in a black town car, GPS off, headed south. Windows up, doors locked. List of numbers clenched in my fist like a burning match. The first address was in a dead zone off Route 66. Former state data facility, decommissioned, boarded up, officially gutted. Unofficially, still warm. The gate had no guards, but the gravel crackled underfoot like it was tattling on me. I walked past rusted fencing, up to a steel door with a keypad that shouldn't have worked. It lit up anyway. I didn't press anything. The door clicked. Inside, dark, cold, smell of old metal and new electricity. Like something buried, but still breathing. I moved fast. No flashlight, no phone, just instinct, muscle memory. I used to build these systems. Now I was trespassing in their ghost. Down the hall. Right. Down again. Sub-basement. Red light blinked near a server rack. Just one. It pulsed slow. Heartbeat rhythm. A motion sensor activated an old screen. Text loaded in staggered chunks. "Welcome back, Eugene." Then, "You left something behind." Drive bay opened. Inside, encrypted key labeled Wraith 01. I pocketed it. Static burst from a ceiling speaker, a voice. Distorted, deep. "Step away from the rack." I froze. "No alarms have tripped," I said out loud. "You're piggybacking the old failsafe relay. That means you're inside the system, or you're already watching from outside." Silence. Then, "You were never supposed to see this again." I smiled, tight and tired. That's becoming a theme lately. Flashlight beams slashed across the hallway. I ducked. Footsteps. Heavy. Military rhythm. Not state. Private. The kind that shoot before asking. I ran. Back the way I came. Door. Left. Emergency hatch. Metal screamed as I forced it. Behind me. Shouting. "Lock the lower vault. Don't let him out." I hit the hatch. Rolled into an access shaft. Scraped my back against rebar. Grit in my mouth. Blood in my teeth. Then, daylight. I spilled out behind a cracked air vent 50 feet from the compound. Heart jackhammering. Chest tight. I didn't stop. I drove straight to the second address. It was a lake house. Quiet. Too quiet. No neighbors. No cars. Inside, dust. Old furniture. But the power worked. I plugged in the Wraith E01 drive. Password prompt. Only one phrase came to mind. I typed it. Power doesn't explain. It unlocked. What came next nearly broke me. Files, names, transfers. Not just Embercore. 4 other shell companies, each routing surveillance data to foreign consultants. One of the email threads had Verina's name, not masked, not encrypted. Another had Malkovich CC'd. They weren't covering their tracks. They didn't think they needed to, because they'd erased the only man who knew how to read the map. A folder labeled Stage 3, red. Alpha caught my eye. I opened it. The first file, my medical report, faked, confirming I was legally incompetent, signed by a doctor I'd never met. The second, a kill list. 3 names crossed out. A 4th name, mine, marked pending. I shut the laptop. The air felt thinner. Footsteps on the porch. Too slow for delivery, too confident for help. I moved to the side door. Quiet. Through a slit in the blinds, I saw her. Detective Sloane. Alone. She held up her badge. "Let me in. Now." I opened the door. She didn't step in. "You're not supposed to be alive," she said. "Yeah," I exhaled. "I get that a lot." She handed me a manila envelope. Inside, a printed image, security footage, Verena, Governor Malkovich. A black briefcase, time-stamped 2 weeks ago. "In that case," Sloan said, "is the trigger. If they think you're going to talk, they use it. And it's not just for you. It wipes everything you've ever accessed." I looked at her. "You mean?" She nodded. "Kill switch. One press. Your name vanishes, bank accounts, credentials, your fingerprint on any system gone. And after that, you're not Eugene Kessler anymore." The wind picked up outside. Somewhere, a phone vibrated. Mine. "Blocked number," I answered. A voice I hadn't heard in years. "Jackson Price." "You need to see what's happening at the estate tonight," he said. "What estate?" "Malkovich's private home. They're meeting off record. No security logs, no press. Just the inner circle." He paused. "And Verena will be there." My grip tightened. "You sure?" "I've got eyes. And if you ever wanted the truth, tonight's your only shot." I looked at Sloan. She didn't speak. Didn't need to. Some storms don't knock. They burn their way through the front door. The estate was already buzzing. High hedges, no gate cameras, no patrols outside, because people like Malkovich didn't need fences. They had leverage. I parked the borrowed car in the trees, just out of sight. Price met me at the edge of the property, hoodie up, face hard. He looked like hell. My kind of hell. "They've been in there 40 minutes, he said. "No staff. All phones surrendered at the door. They're scared of each other now." I nodded. "Scared men make sloppy mistakes." "Or very permanent ones." He handed me a flash drive. Her assistant cracked under pressure, said she didn't want to end up red-lined like the last intern. "What's on it?" "Emails, financials, attachments Verena forgot to wipe." I slid the drive into my inner jacket pocket. We moved. Cutscene. Back door, French style. Unlocked. Inside. Opulence drowning in paranoia. Every mirror was turned inward. Every light too bright. From behind a cracked office door, voices spilled out. We did what we had to. Eugene was unstable. That was Malkovich. Another voice. Cool. Precise. Verena. You didn't want him silenced. You wanted him replaced. Price pulled out a slim camera, tapped record. We moved into position. The governor's voice dropped. He knew too much. And not enough. Dangerous mix. I pushed open the door. 6 heads snapped toward me. All of them froze. Verena didn't. She smiled. "You always did prefer grand entrances." I didn't respond. I tossed the drive onto the center table. "Let's play a different game." Malkovich stood. "This is trespassing. This is truth." He didn't flinch. I pulled out Sloan's manila envelope, dropped the kill list. "You see that?" I was next. After 3 whistleblowers ended up in coffins and headlines, Verena signed off. "You authorized the funds." Verena folded her hands. "This isn't a trial, Eugene." "No." I said, "It's an execution, yours or mine." Malkovich looked at the papers, then at me. "We saved your life." I stepped forward. "You stole it, then sold it. Don't act noble now." "Eugene," Verena said softly, "you couldn't handle what was coming. You broke." I stared at her. "No." I bent. "You snapped." Cutscene. Price clicked the remote. A projection lit the far wall. Live stream. Every screen in the room filled with their own faces, broadcasting across a dozen media feeds Price had hijacked. Data lined the edges. Contracts, bank transfers, Verena's emails. Malkovich lunged. I blocked him. "We go down together, you know that." He stopped, breathed in, then whispered, "You'll never be free again." I was never free to begin with. Twist. From behind, one of the aides reached for something under the table. Gun. Price drew faster. "Don't." They froze. Cutscene. Sirens outside, dozens. Flashlights broke. Through stained glass, Malkovich stared at me, jaw twitching. You don't get to win. No one wins, I said. Some of us just lose louder. The agents swarmed in, yelling, cuffs, chaos. Verena stood still, regal, calm. They moved toward her. She looked me in the eyes. You think this was the truth? This was just the cover story. Then she turned to the nearest agent and smiled. I'd like to make a deal. The station smelled like dust and ozone, old wires, old ghosts. Price kicked the side panel open beneath the broadcast desk. We've got 10 minutes before the signal gets rerouted. I slid the second drive in. The monitors blinked, first static, then blue, then feed. Everything loaded. Documents, footage, the names, the deaths, the fake signatures, the files Verena thought she'd buried with me. Live transmission activated, red light, mic hot. I stepped into frame. My name is Eugene Kessler. You've heard my name, maybe whispered in rooms not meant for the public. Tonight, I am here to tell you what wasn't supposed to survive me. Cut scene. Images of the whistleblowers, timelines, maps, connections. My voice overlapped. They didn't die randomly. They died because they found something, because they were going to say something. Behind me, Price manned the switchboard like a warship crewman. On screen, Embercore's data contracts, Shell, company connections, government oversight forms, with Malkovich and Verena's signatures burned across them. They erased me to buy time, I continued. But time ran out. Cut scene. Siren in the distance. Not close. Not yet. I turned back to the mic. You know what they say, truth is a dangerous thing. But silence is worse. Silence is surrender disguised as survival. My hand trembled slightly. I kept it down. They wouldn't get a shake on air. They wanted you to forget me. And if not me, the ones before me. But memory isn't a luxury, it's a duty. Then, the doors slammed open behind the glass. Agents, badges up. Price yelled, 2 minutes. The station shook slightly from footsteps. The glass in the sound booth trembled. I held the mic closer. Power isn't corrupt by default, I said. It's just addicted to the comfort of shadows. Cut scene. The screen behind me shifted again. Security footage from the estate. Verena, turning to the camera, smiling, saying, You think this was the truth? This was just the cover story. Then, black. Signal severed. All screens dead. Agents flooded the room. Too late. Price slipped the drive out, shoved it into my jacket. Hard copy lives. They separated us, cuffed, dragged out under flickering lights. Outside, spotlights, vans, news cameras, voices shouted. My face hit the front page before sunrise. Malkovich was indicted 2 days later. Verena, released on bond, vanished within a week. Rumor said she flipped. Rumor said she ran. Rumor always says a lot. Weeks passed. Then months. They tried to silence it. Scrubbed headlines, redirected search results, labeled it National Security Theater. But people remembered, and remembering changes everything. Some truths live longer than the liars who buried them. I moved out of the city. New name, new account, just enough for quiet. But memory doesn't retire. Some nights, I hear her voice behind me, that cold whisper in the dark. You were too weak for power. Maybe. Or maybe I was just too human for her world. There's something no one tells you about betrayal. It's not the lie that destroys you. It's how easily the person telling it sleeps after. I don't sleep much anymore, but I remember. And that's enough. Because the one thing I've learned, they can steal your name, your voice, even your face. But if you still have your story, you're not dead. You're just waiting to be heard.